those products that we use day to day. Now, think about what these products are doing. These products are actually changing human behavior. They are making us act in a certain way, right? And by acting in those certain ways, what you are doing is you are helping that business grow. Because on Instagram, you are scrolling past so many reels, it has actually built that behavior in you, has inculcated that behavior in you, which makes you scroll through so many reels, one after the other, one after the other, right? And in the process, now they are capturing your attention, which gives them that opportunity for Instagram to actually show you a few ads as well. And through those ads, it's making money, right? So changes in behavior, in human behavior, is actually helping the business to grow. And that's what fundamentally product management is all about, right? It actually kind of helps change human behavior, which results in achieving the desired business outcomes. Okay. All right. Can you guys hear me? Because I see a couple of people saying you're not able to hear me. Give me a quick yes if you can hear me fine. Okay, perfect. So it seems like a couple of people are having problems with their kind of network or their system. So please try and check out your sound systems, because the rest of us can actually hear me. So I'll keep going. All right. So then the question is, what are the right products to build, right? We know what products do. They help change human behaviors, which helps in helping the business grow. Then what are the right products to build? What kind of products should you be building? In the ecosystem, you'll find three different kinds of people, right? In the technology ecosystem, there will be some folks who will basically say, oh, yes, this can be built. Let's go ahead and build it. Okay. They're leading with a technology mindset because they know that this can be built. So let's go ahead and build it. That's a technology mindset. You are leading with the technology part of it. And that's not a very good sign. Just because you can build it should not mean that you go ahead and build it. Then the next segment of people that you will find are folks who are very good in spotting certain problems. Okay. In our day-to-day lives, when we use products, sometimes we witness errors, sometimes we see that the product is not working out as well, right? So that's basically an indication that the product is perhaps not working well. There are customers facing a problem, and which is where product managers come in and they spot a problem and try to fix it. Okay, so that's a majority of the product managers that are there in the ecosystem today have that kind of a mindset that, okay, here's the problem, and I see that it's impacting the user, it's impacting the business, let's go ahead and solve it. Okay, so that's the second segment. That's your average product manager. But the best of product managers are actually what we call as outcome thinkers. They want to figure out what is that desired outcome, what is that future state that I want to reach, and they are going to work backwards from there and try to solve that problem. Okay, they're trying to figure out what will the future look like, and to get to that future state, what should I do today, what should I do tomorrow in order to get to that future state. That's what the best of product managers focus on. So as a product manager, what are you doing fundamentally? You are actually doing two things. You are operating in two fundamental spaces. One is the problem space and one is the solution space. The problem space is where you are focusing on understanding what the problem is, who is facing the problem, how does this problem manifest, all of those things, right? And in the solution space, you are trying to figure out, how can I solve this problem in the best possible manner? So two fundamental spaces. One is what is the problem, understanding it, going deep to figure out when that problem happens, who faces that problem, what can be achieved by solving this problem. All of those questions are in the problem space, or what we call as the product discovery space. And the second space is basically all about solving that problem. You've spotted the problem and now you're trying to solve that problem. Okay. In the problem space, you are trying to find the right problem to go after. And in the solution space, you are trying to find the right solution to that given problem. And which means in the problem space, you are largely working alone as a product manager. Okay. You are actually trying to go deep into the problem. How can you do that? You can look at the data, you can talk to users. Those are the things that you are going to do to help understand the problem really, really well. Okay. In the solution space, you are working a lot with designers, marketing, with engineers, software developers to figure out how can you build the solution. Okay. So that's basically how to think about it. As a product manager, you are operating in two spaces, problem space and the solution space. The problem space is all about understanding the problem really, really well. And the solution space is all about figuring out the right solve to that problem. Okay. Is everyone clear about this? Perfect. Okay, great. Let's keep moving forward then. So as a product manager, you've heard about 2D, you've heard about 3D, but here's what is the role of a product manager. It is 4D, four-dimensional, right? Why do I say 4D? It's because you are focused on the discovery, understanding the problem really, really well. You're focused on delivery, how to solve that problem using technology, right? The third one is distribution. How do you let the users know that you have solved that problem? Okay, so that's the third thing, distribution. How do you get more users to know about your product? That's the distribution part of it. And finally, across all of these phases, you are going to be making a lot of decisions. Decisions like, should I work on this problem or that problem? Should I go with this solution or that solution? Should I build this solution in-house or should I actually use a third-party solution for this? Right? So those are the things that you work on as a product manager. Now let's see if you will enjoy this role. Okay. So here's a quick exercise for all of you. If you are thinking, since you've joined this particular workshop, I'm guessing you're trying to understand, okay, what is product management or learn a bit more about product management. So let's try to see if you will enjoy this role. Okay. We're going to do a very quick activity, right? And if you have your smartphones handy, pull out your smartphones. Okay. And we're going to do a quick activity out here, right? Well, this is what we call as a product teardown. We'll see what an existing product is and try to understand the different aspects of that product to help you understand things better. Okay. So here's what I want you to do. Go to the Play Store or the App Store on your smartphone and search for this particular app, Be Real. Okay. And install that app. Be Real. This is the app name. Search for it on the Play Store or the App Store and install that app. Next, what you need to do is go through the onboarding process of this particular app. Okay, the onboarding process. And as you're going through the onboarding process, make sure that you are looking at each of the screens that are coming up, each of the steps that are coming up, and try to see what you like or hate about each of these screens. Try to see what is each screen telling you to do. Okay. Note those things down and maybe take a screenshot of each of those screens. I'll give you a couple of minutes to do this. So once all of you guys have done this, right, we will get moving with a quick set of questions to see what all you have taken away. Okay, so I'll give you 2 minutes to work on this. Open up the Play Store or the App Store and search for this app called Be Real and install this app, go through the onboarding process and take a screenshot of each of the screens, and then we will have a few questions for you. Seems like a lot of you care about attendance, right? I never used to care about attendance in anything in my school or college, but seems like you guys are pretty serious students. So I see a lot of people asking about attendance sheets and putting down their names to record their attendance. Let me know once you guys are done, and then we'll get moving. Just comment done on the chat so that I know, and then we will get moving. Okay, Abhishek says done. Manish also says done. Okay, let me see a few more dones, and then we'll move forward. Okay, wonderful. Perfect. Okay. Okay. Now, here's a question for you. How many of you watch Coffee with Karan? Let me see honest answers here. Coffee with Karan. How many of you watch Coffee with Karan? Okay. Seems like quite a few guys watch it. Some of them saying, no, I definitely don't watch it. Okay, that's fine. But if you have watched Coffee with Karan, then kind of I'll take a cue from his show, which is what is called as the rapid fire, right? No gift hampers for any of you, but let's try to answer 8 questions that I will throw at you. Okay, so let's go after the first question, right? What do you think is the app's positioning? What do I mean by app's positioning? Is how do you think this app is positioned to its users? Which means what are they saying as to why they are different? What comes to your mind immediately when you saw this app, Be Real? What was the thing that came to your mind? Positive alternative of social media. Okay, that's a good one. Okay, they are helping us to be in the real life. Okay, making it real. Okay, social media app. All right. Okay, transparency in social media. Okay, Snapchat. Okay, pretty much like Snapchat. Okay, no filters. All right, control over privacy. Okay, show the reality. All right, user friendly interface. Okay, helps to connect with others. Okay, great. So that's what you'll see. Every product that you build, right, or you use will always have a certain value proposition. Okay, why you should use that product or how that product is different from other products. So, and whenever we use a particular product, there is always a reference point that comes to our mind. Like a lot of you said, Snapchat or Instagram, but without filters, but presenting a real authentic self, right? So that's how kind of products are positioned. And whenever you're building out products, you need to first think about what is the app's positioning. Okay, and product positioning is a very foundational aspect wherein you are thinking about why would users use my product? How can I actually connect with my user? What is that marketing message out here? How do I build out a product which is unique? Okay, whenever it's unique, then you have a greater chance of that product getting adopted. So that's the first question. What is the app's positioning? Interestingly, Be Real has been termed as the Instagram killer. It was the number one app on the App Store in 2022. It's been growing very rapidly in the US, and I'm pretty sure it wouldn't be a long time till they actually start growing in India as well. Okay, now here's the next question that I'm throwing at you. Who do you think they are targeting? Which is the target segment that they're going after, and how big do you think that market is? Youth. Okay, let's be a bit more specific. What do you mean by youth? Okay, teenagers is what Kanish says. Okay, that's nice. 18 to 24. Okay, Gen Z. All right. 10 years to 28 years. Okay, I don't know if 10 years is kind of something which we would want, but okay. So basically, very young people, all the attention seekers. Okay, 12 to 22. All right, 15 to 24. Okay. So basically, whenever you are building out a product, you need to think about who are you building for. Okay, so that's the target segment. And whenever you're thinking about the target segment, you also need to think about how many such users are there. Okay, so that's basically the first step in product management. You build out a product for a certain segment of users. Okay, in this case, for Be Real, they are actually going after teenagers and very young kind of adults, like 15 to 25, right? So all of you who are joining in are actually in the target segment for them. Okay, and it is actually coming from an insight that they got when talking to these sets of users. Is they found that this set of users wants to actually use the internet in a slightly different manner, because they have become bored of a lot of fake stuff coming on social media, because they are seeing people not being their own self. They are actually kind of trying to project someone that they are not, right? So all of those particular things were coming out, right? And that's why they thought that, okay, if this segment of users is actually trying to be very different, then how can we actually help them, right? Yes, no show off, right? So that's exactly it. So that's how they kind of came up with this idea of Be Real. And as you can see from the name also, it says Be Real. Okay, so that's one of the things to keep in mind, right? What is the target segment? Whenever you're building out a product, you need to kind of really figure out who is the target segment and what are their pain points. And that's the foundation for you to build out products. As you can understand, 15 to 25 years is a pretty big market globally, right? It's about a billion plus people that fall in this particular segment. So they are going after a pretty big market. So the opportunity is pretty big. So whenever you're building out products, you need to think about what is the opportunity that you are going after. Okay, so that's basically how you need to kind of think about the first step. The next thing is think about who were the actors involved. What do I mean by actors? Actors are nothing but what are the different roles that the users are playing. Okay, you need to kind of first think about what are the different roles that users are playing. Can you tell me what are the different roles that users are playing? Posting pictures. Okay, creator and consumer, very nice. Okay, so creator and consumer, two different roles that the users are playing, right? And that's basically the other thing that you need to think about whenever you're building out products. You first think about, okay, who am I building for, and then what all are the roles that I want them to play. Okay, so that's the actors involved out here. Next question that I'm asking is, what do you think the product manager who has worked on building out this onboarding process that you went through, what do you think that product manager is trying to achieve? What is the product manager trying to achieve? What is the product manager trying to achieve? What is the product manager trying to achieve through that onboarding process? Why is there an onboarding process to begin with? Information and data, okay. Think about what are they trying to optimize for. If they're trying to measure how good or how bad is the onboarding process, how can they actually figure that out? If you look very closely, what the product manager would be optimizing for is to get more and more people to post for the very first time. What is the onboarding process? What does it lead to? A new user like yourself posting for the very first time. But there are several steps before they can actually post, right? So how many users out of those who install the app went on to post for the very first time within that first session? That is what they are trying to actually optimize for. Okay. There are different steps, which means at each different step, many people will actually fall off. Like a lot of you are saying, okay, I did not post. You did not post for a particular reason, right? And that is the opportunity now for the product manager working behind the scenes to figure out, okay, there are some people who are not posting. How can I actually get them to post? Okay, so that's basically what the product manager is optimizing for. Now, let me ask you this question. When you are using this product, when you are going through the different steps in this product, what emotions did you feel at each step of the process? Did you feel an emotion of joy? Did you feel an emotion of frustration? Did you feel an emotion of anxiousness, anxiety? Did you feel get surprised? Right? What kind of emotions did you feel? Excitement, okay. Encouraging, curious, joy, okay. Surprise, okay. So if you look very closely, if you have gone through the onboarding process, what you might find is that you got surprised when you saw that when you are trying to post or when you're trying to take the picture was taken from both cameras, the rear camera as well as the front camera. No other app would actually do that. So it was very, very different, right? And that causes a sense of surprise, a sense of curiosity. So any products that we use, you will find that it evokes certain emotions. The more positive emotions, the better the chances of that product doing really well. Okay, so that's basically one of the things to keep in mind. Whenever you're building out products, your objective is to bring out a lot of the positive emotions from your users. Okay, now let me ask you this question. We all talk about design and all of those particular things. When you are going through each of these different different screens, right? When you were going through these different screens, what were the different design elements that you liked? What were the different design elements which you hated? Were there certain elements in the design which you liked or hated? Like the fonts, okay, you didn't like the background, the dark background, okay. Black interface, some people saying it's premium, okay. Hated the simplicity, okay. Most people will like the simplicity, okay. Too simple, okay. Minimalistic UI, yes, absolutely. Theme is premium, yeah. Symbolic icons, all right. Minimalistic is good, yeah. Okay. No ads, yeah, okay. So there are certain things that you liked, right? And whenever we use certain products, there are certain reasons why we like a product, or certain reasons why we don't like a product, okay. Like what you are seeing, some people are saying they like the dark background, some people are saying they did not like the dark background. So which means You have to actually build out a product for a certain set of users. No product is going to be absolutely popular across everyone. Even for the most popular product like WhatsApp, you will find a lot of people saying, oh, WhatsApp does not do this, WhatsApp does not do that, right? All of those particular things, right? So whenever you're building out a product, you are building for a certain set of users only, which might mean there are certain other users who may not like that product, and it's absolutely okay, right? You are building for your target set of users. Now, let me see how much you are paying attention. What information do you think they were collecting? And what information do you think might be getting stored? And obviously, they have collected your name and contact details, phone number, and all of that. But apart from that, can you tell me what other information did they collect or are they looking to collect? Think a lot deeper, right? It's beyond the date and name and all of that. If you are posting a picture, what you are giving access to that app is basically your current location, because the picture is being taken then and there. Okay. If you go to your pictures and open up your gallery, go to your pictures, click on that three dot icon and go to the info, and you'll find there is something called EXIF data, EXIF data, which stores the latitude and the longitude of the place where that picture was taken. Right? Now think carefully out here. What is BEL's value proposition? Only one notification a day and only one post a day. They're asking you to post only once. Okay. And by asking you to post only once, they're basically saying, I will send the notification wherever you are. You have to actually post then and there within 2 minutes, which basically means you have to take a picture then and there, wherever you are at this current point in time, take the picture and post. And with that post, most of us don't have our location settings off, especially on photographs, on images that we take from our camera. Which means now they have access to the latitude and the longitude where that photo was taken. Which means they know exactly where you are at right now. Okay. Now, how do you think they might be using this data going forward? We all talk about, okay, how is Facebook knowing exactly what I'm searching for, exactly where I am, and all of those particular things, right? This is where advertisements come in. When you're running an ad, you are actually targeting a certain set of users. How do you target users in a particular location? This is where the location settings are coming from. Okay. So even though they are not running ads right now, they will most likely go on to running ads very, very soon. And this is how the entire business model of the app comes up. So many times we question, oh, how is this product making money? This product is running a lot at a lot of loss, right? What you are not understanding is they're building up the foundation slowly and gradually, getting you hooked onto the product, and then they will start monetizing you. Okay. And behind all of this, there is a product manager who is smart enough to understand how technology works, understand what the user's pain points are, and understand how to tap into that pain point and give you a solution which you might feel that, okay, I'm enjoying using this product, right? And they are basically saying, okay, the more you start using my product, the more money I'm going to make from you. Okay, so that's basically the way to think about it. Now, the final question for you is, now let's say you are a product manager working at BeReal and trying to make the onboarding process better. What do you think? What idea would you come up with to make that onboarding process better? Let's see in the chat. What idea are you going to come up with to make this onboarding process better? Keep in mind, your objective is to get more users to post for the very first time. OTP detection, okay. Login with Google, okay, interesting. Sign in with mail ID, all right. Reduce the number of steps to post, okay, very nice. Have a trial period, but trial period for what? Give coins for a post, very interesting. Give a reward, okay. Okay, great. So for those of you who are saying sign in with Instagram, sign in with Facebook, sign in with Google and all of that, right? Keep in mind, they are trying to go against Instagram. They are trying to kind of pitch themselves as an alternative social media. So why would they use another social login? It does not make sense, right? As far as removing number of steps is concerned, sure, right? You can figure out how to remove the number of steps, but you need to also keep in mind that there are certain data points which you would need. OTP detection is a very good one because there is currently a lot of problems in them automatically detecting the OTP. It's an added friction point, so you can optimize for that. Someone said like giving them an additional reward or some kind of coins or some kind of gamified things, right, which gives them as an incentive to post, which is also great, right? Daily login bonus and all of those particular things. Yes, absolutely, you can do that. But very simple things also can help. For example, many times people don't complete something because they don't know how many steps are there. Just adding a very simple progress bar can also help, because then you know that, okay, I am 30% of the way done. There's only 70% left. Okay, so those are certain ideas that you can come up with. And how do you know whether this is going to work or not work? Because you don't know whether this progress bar is going to work or not. So what do? You run a quick experiment. You build out a very small feature and run an experiment and see from that experiment, how is that performing? Is it working well? Is it not working well? Is that metric that you are going after increasing the percentage of first-time users posting for the very first time? Is that going up or down? Right? You will be able to figure out the impact of it. Right? So as product managers, you are always trying to move a certain metric. Right? So that's basically what the role of a product manager would involve. If you see, what we did was we first tried to understand what is going to be the marketing storyline? How am I going to pitch this product? Who are the target set of users? Is that a big enough base for me to go after? What are their preferences? Trying to understand their pain points. And then you try to figure out, okay, what am I trying to optimize for out here? Right. And then you are trying to understand that, okay, what are the pain points out here in this particular process? How do I use the technology? All of those things. And then you're looking at the data, trying to understand, well, how is my current onboarding process doing, and then coming up with ideas to figure out how you can make it better. Okay, so how many of you enjoyed this process of thinking about answers to these questions? Yeah, so for those of you who enjoyed this process, I think you might enjoy product management as a career option. For those of you who did not and who just thought, oh, what am I doing out here, right? Perhaps product management is not a good fit for you. This product management is for people who are inherently very curious. They will try to actually go deeper to think about, why is this product built the way it is? There is a reason why a product is built the way it is, right? And you need to kind of understand what is that reason. So very curious people are usually very good product managers because they go deep to understand this problem very, very well and then come up with the right solution. Okay, so that's basically the first gear. Now, are we ready to move into the second gear? Give me a quick yes if you guys want to continue driving, or if you feel like, no, this is not that interesting, let us put our brakes. Okay, so it seems like all of you guys want to move into the second gear. Okay, you want to drive, so let's drive to second gear. So what do you do as a product manager? As a product manager, you are doing fundamentally two things. You are understanding the system and you are trying to make changes to the system. Okay, two things: understanding the system, understanding how all the different pieces are working together, and then trying to make changes to the systems to make the system even better. Okay, so what is an example of a system? A system, like for example, a car. What is the system comprised of? A car is comprised of multiple thousands of different components, all of which are working together. If you just remove one kind of nut and bolt or something like that, it might actually impact the working of the car. Okay, your human body is also another system. So when you're using digital products are also systems, and systems made up of even smaller systems. Okay, so that's what kind of you need to understand. And if you have to build up a strong product sense, you need to embrace what we call as systems thinking. So what is systems thinking? So let's try to understand what happens when you go to a grocery store. Okay, when you go to a grocery store, think about the steps that you go through. You first have a list of items that you want to buy. Yeah, absolutely. You have a list of items that you want to buy. With that list, you go to the shopkeeper and ask the shopkeeper, do you have these items? And then the shopkeeper will say, yes, I have this item, or I don't have the item. And then you check for the price. What is the price of these items? And then the shopkeeper will tell you the price. And then you are going to basically tell the shopkeeper, okay, give me these items. What does the shopkeeper do now? The shopkeeper goes and picks up those items from the shelf where it is kept or from his godown and will bring those items to the cash counter. Okay. And then you are perhaps asking the shopkeeper to make a bill, and the shopkeeper is going to create a bill for those items and ask you to pay the money. And then you are going to pay the money to the shopkeeper and get those items, put them in the bag, and then come back home. These are the different steps. Now let's think a bit deeply about each of these steps. What did you do? You first created a list of items, which means you had a need which you wanted to fulfill. If you wanted 1 kilo of rice, that means you perhaps had run out of rice at home, or you are looking to cook some biryani or something like that, and that's why you are ordering that rice, you're getting that rice. Okay, so you have a need. With that need, you are going to the shop, and at the shop you are asking the shopkeeper, do you have 1 kilo of rice? And the shopkeeper is saying, yes, I do. There are these 4 or 5 different brands and these are their prices. So what is happening out here? A conversation. A conversation means you are asking for information and you are getting back information. You are asking whether this item is there in stock, what is the price, what are the brands, and you're getting back information from the shopkeeper. So there is an information flow that is happening. After that, what is happening is, if once you say that, yes, I want this item, the shopkeeper is actually going and fetching those items. So what is happening out here? The shopkeeper is actually moving the material from one location to another location. So that is a material flow that is happening. And the third thing which is happening is the shopkeeper is creating a bill for those items and asking you to pay. And you are making the payment, which means there is a cash flow that is happening, money flow that is happening. Okay. So as you can see, there are three fundamental flows that are happening. Information flow, you are asking for information, the shopkeeper is giving you information. Material flow, where the shopkeeper is bringing the items from the shelf or from the go down to the cash counter, that is the material flow. And the third thing that is happening is you are paying the money, that is money flow that is happening. Now think about a similar thing now in an e-commerce setup like Amazon or Flipkart. What are you doing there? You are going and searching for something, which means you have a need and you are asking Amazon or Flipkart, hey, do you have this item or not? That is information flow. Second thing which is happening is once you're placing the order, the item is being moved from the seller's location or from the warehouse to your location. That is material flow is happening. And the third thing which is happening is once the item comes to your doorstep, you are doing a cash on delivery, which means the money flow is happening, right? So what have we done out here? For a complicated product like Flipkart or Amazon, or for that matter, Ola, Uber, right? All of those things, you have boiled it down to three fundamental flows: information flow, material flow, and cash flow. Most digital products will have one or more of these flows. Okay, that is when you start thinking about, when you start breaking down complicated products into its simplest pieces. That's the other skill that a product manager needs to have, to be able to break down problems, to be able to break down systems. Because remember what we said as a product manager, what are you doing? Understanding the system. When you're trying to understand the system, you have to simplify things. You have to be able to understand what is going on, right? When you're analyzing or building a product, look at it from a systems lens. And these are the 6 major things that you need to think about. First is business model, second is actors, third is flows, fourth is feedback loops, fifth is rules and constraints, and sixth is infrastructure. So let's try to understand each one of them. First is business model. Now, there are 6 major predominant business models that there are. Any digital product that you find will follow any one or more of these business models. What is a business model? Basically, it is an answer to the question as to how does the company make money. Okay. Now, give me an example of a product which is following this first business model of selling a product or a service. Which company's name comes to your mind? Selling a product. Apple, very nice. Apple is selling a MacBook, or it is selling iPhones or AirPads, right? So MacBook, like Apple is a very good example of the first one, right? Give me an example of renting a product. Renting a product. Perlenco, very nice. Perlenco is a very good example of renting a product. Okay. Now give me an example of commission-based sales, where you are earning money by actually taking a commission. Zoomcar, no, Zoomcar is actually renting a product. Meesho, Flipkart, Ola, Airbnb, these are examples of commission-based sales. Because when you are paying for a particular ride on Ola or Uber, let's say you are paying 100 rupees. Does the entire 100 rupees go to Ola and Uber? No. It is that 20 or 25% commission that goes to Ola. The remaining goes to the driver. When you are making a putting an order on Flipkart or Amazon, what is happening? The majority of the money is going to the seller who is selling that product. And maybe 10-15% is coming to Flipkart or Amazon. Okay. Next, give me an example of charging a subscription fee model. Netflix, yeah, absolutely. YouTube Premium, very nice. So Spotify, these are examples of subscription-based models. Give me an example of charging based on usage. Charging based on usage. Phone bills, yeah, AWS, very nice. Very nice. Finally, advertising based. Give me an example of advertising based. Yeah, Google, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, all of these are ads based models. Okay, good. So now you have an understanding of the major business models that you will find. Now, an interesting thing to note is we talked about Apple earlier, right? Now, think about what Apple is doing. Apple is selling an MacBook or an iPad or an AirPod or an iPhone, right? It's selling a product. Apple also has an app store where it's earning a commission from the app developers. Apple also has Apple TV, wherein it's charging a subscription fee. Apple also has iCloud, where it's charging based on usage. And Apple also has Apple Ads, it's advertising based. Right? So as a company grows, you will find that they keep adding multiple business models. Same thing you will find with Amazon also. Amazon started off by selling books. Then they moved to a marketplace model. Now they have Amazon Prime, which is a subscription fee model. Then they have AWS, which is charging based on usage. Then they are running ads also, which is advertising based. Any company which grows has multiple business models. Okay, so that's the other thing to keep in mind. As a product manager, you need to have a good business sense so that you understand these elements. Okay, so that's the thing to keep in mind. Next thing what we said was actors. Actors can be of two types, internal and external. Who are the internal actors? The ones that you are going to be working with to build out the product, your stakeholders, your engineering teams, your design teams, and all of those. Right? Those are internal actors. Why are we calling them internal actors? Because they are also playing a role in terms of decision making. They are either helping you build the product or they are actually kind of trying to influence your decision also. Okay. The next thing is external actors, your customers, competitors, the climate. For example, COVID came. Regulators. For example, the GST Council suddenly said that online gaming will now be charged at 28% GST and not 18%. Okay. So those are different examples of actors, external actors. So any product can be impacted by internal actors as well as external actors. So that's the other thing to keep in mind. Which are the actors which can influence the product? The next thing which we've already learned are three fundamental flows: information flow, material flow, and cash flow. And you need to figure out what is the information flow happening out here. In the tech world, we all talk about APIs, for example. If you've heard about APIs, right? And you might be thinking, oh, what are APIs? And that's basically a very simple way to think about it is one system asking the other system, hey, do you have this information? And the other system is basically responding, saying, yes, I do have this information, here it is. So one system is making a request and the other system is actually giving a response, right? So that's basically a very simplistic way of understanding what APIs are, which is application programming interface. Right? Now, the question that might be coming to your mind would be, oh, like for product management, then do I need to code? Do I need to know all about kind of coding and things like that? No, you don't. You need to actually have a much better understanding of how to think about solving problems. That's it. Okay. At Flipkart, for example, I spent almost 7 years working at Flipkart, and one of the most popular programs in the country is the APM program at Flipkart. Okay. And this was the program which I had started back at Flipkart. Right. This was almost close to 10 years ago, where the APM program at Flipkart started, and it has gone on to become one of the most popular campus programs today in the country. Where were we hiring from? Only undergrad colleges. Okay. Most of the people that we hired were not computer science graduates. We have even hired people from architecture background, design background, right? Because those people were fantastic problem solvers. And today, some of them are working at Google, some of them are working at Facebook, some of them have gone on to work at Swiggy, some of them have started their own companies. Civil, absolutely. The engineering discipline does not matter, right? As it is in India, engineering is a sham, right? We are not taught engineering, right? We are taught how to actually have fun on campus. That's it, right? So don't worry about that. Focus on problem solving skills. If you are actually kind of a good problem solver, right, then nothing can stop you, right? Someone's asking, okay, what about tier 3 college? The college does not matter. In the tech world, what matters are your skills. Okay. At NextLeap, which is the company that I run, we have a product manager fellowship where we kind of teach product management. Just look at the link that I just shared, and you will see so many people coming from tier 2, tier 3 colleges, right, who are actually breaking into product management. Okay. So that's basically how to think about product management. If you have those basic skills of critical thinking, of kind of problem solving, then you should be good. Okay. Now let's try to kind of understand what we have learned so far around systems thinking to figure out how are like products like Ola, Flipkart, Airbnb even built. What's going on behind the scenes? Okay. So think about it from one side, which is the consumer side. The consumer side is the demand side. So what are you trying to understand? Who are the target users? How do I acquire them? Through which channels do I acquire them? How do I engage them? How do I get them to come to my platform again and again and again? And Ola is basically thinking, okay, how do I acquire more customers? How do I get my customers to book more rides? Right? All of those particular things. So those are questions to think about from the demand side. Similarly, on the supply side also, you are thinking about, okay, how can I get more sellers? How can I get more service providers? How can I get more cab drivers? How do I actually help them grow? How do I get them more rides? All of those. Next thing that you're thinking about is how do I make money? What are my revenues and what are my cost structures? And then you are also thinking about what is the tech infrastructure? What are the data platforms? How do I store the data? All of those particular things. How do my systems talk to each other? Okay. So that's basically at a very high level how we are thinking about the system. Now let's try to understand what's going on inside it. As a customer comes in on Ola or Uber, he or she is actually searching for a cab. It's basically saying, I want to go from location A to location B. This is my pickup point. This is my destination. Do you have a sedan? And I click on book a ride. What is happening out here? I have given certain information and I'm asking the platform, do you have it? Information flow, right? And from the platform side, it is basically trying to look at, okay, where are all my cabs right now? And can I match this passenger with a driver, right? That's another information flow, which is the response coming back from the platform. Once you have been matched, What is happening out here? The cab is moving from one location to another. Material flow is happening, or service flow is actually happening. And then at the end of the ride, you are making the payment from the consumer to the seller or the cab driver out here. Similarly, what is also happening is Ola is actually booking that ride and storing it in its system, saying this cab driver actually made this or completed this ride, right? And also storing this customer, this passenger actually booked this particular ride at this time. So a lot of information about the ride is getting stored, right? And where is it storing it? In all the systems that it has built, which means it's storing a lot of data. Now, what is it doing with all this data? Ola and Uber is actually looking at the data and trying to figure out, am I seeing certain patterns in the data? Am I actually seeing that during certain times of the day, my demand is a lot higher than supply, especially during office hours, especially in special economic zones, or especially near office complexes, right? It is actually getting all of that information through the data. And that is what is helping it to get an insight that, okay, there is an opportunity for us to have an increased pricing during certain times of the day in certain regions, which is what we know as surge pricing. Okay. So see how all of these are coming together. Now let's go one level deeper. How are you accessing Ola? You are accessing it through the app or through the website perhaps. There is a notification that is coming in saying your ride is on the way. So someone has built a notification system also. Then there might be certain referral rewards. You are rating the rider, the ride. You are also, the driver is also rating you. There is a rating system which is being built, user generated content. And there can be so many more such systems out there. Similarly, on the supply side also, the cab drivers have to register. They have to put down all their details and all of that, right? They have to accept the pricing. In Amazon or on Flipkart, sellers have the ability to price their products also. Then there was a support system for the sellers. So these are all smaller systems that are getting built, and even more systems are getting built inside. There's a search system, there's a checkout system, there's a payment system, there's a catalog system, there's an order management system, and all of these systems are talking to each other. And that is basically what systems thinking is all about. In systems, just like in a car, we said there is an engine, there is a steering wheel, then there is the tire, a lot of different components, and each one is talking to each other. Here also, when in digital products, you have different smaller systems talking to each other, but together they are helping achieve a certain need for the product. Okay, so that's basically how you are using systems thinking out here. Is everyone clear so far? Is everyone following, understanding it? I don't know why people are interested about Mohammed Fraz. Seems like he's a famous guy out here. But yeah, he's just one of our instructors on the platform. Yeah. Okay, perfect. Ready to go into third gear or should we stop? Please explain in simple words. I'm trying to explain as simple as possible. If this is becoming too complex, then perhaps you need to do a bit more reading there. But yeah, okay, let's keep moving forward, right? So, what are the different steps in building out a product? You first list out the outcomes. Remember what we talked about earlier? You list out the outcomes. Why are we actually going after this particular space? What do we get to achieve from a business perspective? That is the first question to answer. The next is basically trying to figure out, okay, where do I then focus? Which segment do I focus? That's what leads to the opportunities. You're doing user research, understanding who is facing a problem, why they're facing a problem, when they're facing a problem, trying to understand the problem a lot deeply, and then you go into the solution part, right? Step by step. So let's try to take an example out here to help you understand this. Okay. All right. Let's say you are tasked with increasing the revenue for YouTube. Okay. We all use YouTube. Let's say you're a product manager at YouTube. And let's say you are tasked with the problem statement of increasing the revenue for YouTube. How would you do it? Okay, people are saying ads, show more ads. Okay. Would you like seeing more ads? If you're saying show more ads, ban ads. Okay. If you ban ads, then how are you going to earn money? Make content more relatable. Okay. This is the classic trap that a lot of product managers fall into. Whenever a problem statement like this gets asked, and this is one of the very simple interview questions which will get asked in product interviews. Questions like these: how would you increase revenue for YouTube? And most candidates will give answers like what you're giving, right? Show more ads, or like increase pricing for premium and things like that, right? But that's a solution-led thought process. You are thinking about the solution without even understanding the problem deeply enough. Okay, so let's try to understand the problem a bit more deeply. So, what is the business model of YouTube? We've learned about 6 different business models. Which business model do you think YouTube has? Advertisement. Okay, great. Is that the only one? What else apart from advertisement? Subscription. Yeah, absolutely. With YouTube Premium. Yeah. So that's the second business model. Subscription. So ads, subscription. Anything else? Don't forget there is rentals, movie rentals also on YouTube. Yeah. So renting something. Yeah. And finally, they have launched something like Super Chat and all of that as well, which is a commission based structure, right? So, 4 different business models. Primarily advertising based, that's what makes up almost 70% of their revenue, but they also have subscription based with YouTube Premium, rental for YouTube movies, and very recently now they've gone into commission based structures as well. So, now let's try to keep things very simple for an easier understanding. Okay. Here are some assumptions that we are going to make. We are going to assume that YouTube only has impression based advertising. What is impression based advertising? Basically, advertisers are actually advertising only for number of views or number of impressions. Okay. In the ads world, there is cost per impression, cost per click, cost per action, multiple different types of models are there, ad models. But just to keep things simple, let's try to assume that YouTube only has impression based advertising in the form of video ads. And let's assume that all videos will have ads. And let's assume that all ads are skippable. Okay. We are making these assumptions. Why are we making these assumptions? Just to simplify things a bit so that we don't confuse ourselves. We're making certain assumptions to help you understand the process a bit better. Okay. Now let's try to break down revenue. How are we getting revenue? We said it's primarily advertising based, impression based, advertising based. So how can we calculate revenue? Revenue can be written as number of ad impressions multiplied by cost per impression. Correct? Simple arithmetic that we studied back in class 1, right? Now, cost per impression cannot be broken down any further because it's like a rate card. Now, let's try to break down number of ad impressions. How can you write number of ad impressions in the form of an equation? Can we write it like this? Number of ad impressions is equal to number of video plays multiplied by number of ad impressions per video play. Is everyone following? Can we write it like this? Yeah. Okay, perfect. Now, number of ad impressions per video play, can we break it down any further? Absolutely, we can. We can write it like this. Number of ads that will be shown per minute multiplied by average video play duration. Think about it. Can we write it like this? Okay, perfect. Number of ads per minute, you cannot break it down any further. But can you break down average video play duration? Yes, we can, which is a function of average video duration, the total length of the video, and the video completion rate, because we never watch the entire video, right? What you'll see is video completion rate. If you increase this means you are going to increase revenue. Similarly, if you increase number of video plays, you will increase revenue. So as a product manager, it makes sense for you to focus here. How do you increase video completion rate? How do you increase number of video plays? Now let's see if we can break down number of video plays. What happens when you go to YouTube? There's a certain journey that you go through, certain steps that you go through, right? You open up YouTube. Now, many times after opening up YouTube, you may not actually be watching a video because some call came up, a friend of yours called, you exit. So that's a drop off. Some people come to YouTube, drop off, don't watch a video. Then you might also happen like you search for something, you don't find relevant recommendations, and you don't watch a video, which means you have taken some action, but it has not led to a video view, right? And the third case is when you actually click on the thumbnail and you go ahead and watch the video, right? So we see there are different steps before you watch a video. You visit, you sometimes might drop off without watching a video. Sometimes you search, don't get relevant results. You might drop off from here. You click on the video thumbnail, something happens, the page does not load, or your internet goes off and you are not able to watch it. Then you watch an ad and then you kind of go on to watch the video, right? Using this particular step-by-step journey, now how do you write number of video plays in the form of an equation? Remember, this is where we are at. We are trying to break down number of video plays. Can we break it down? Yes, we can. Number of video plays is equal to number of video viewers multiplied by average videos per viewer. And number of video viewers can also be written as number of visitors to YouTube multiplied by 1 minus the bounce rate. What is bounce rate? People who come to YouTube, don't take any action, drop off. Multiplied by the video thumbnail click-through rate. Because of the people who are not bouncing off, which means they're taking some action on YouTube. That can be searching, that can be going to the navigation menu, something or the other, right? But not necessarily watching a video. So which is why to get to number of video viewers, you are multiplying it with the video thumbnail click-through rate, right? Now let's do a quick exercise. Go to YouTube right now, open up YouTube and hover on the thumbnail. Hover your cursor on the thumbnail. Tell me what happens. When you hover on the thumbnail of YouTube, there is a preview which will play. Yes, there is a preview. Why do you think some product manager working at YouTube built out the preview feature? Why do you think so? There's no need. Why did they build it? Because they wanted to increase this, the video thumbnail click-through rate. Increasing this automatically increases this. Why do you think someone built out recommendations? To increase average videos per viewer, which increases the revenue. Now go and click on the thumbnail and start watching the video. And in the settings, you will see something like playback speed. Why do you think someone built a playback speed? 1.2x, 1.5x. Why do you think they built it? Not to save time, to increase the average completion rate of the video. Because increasing the completion rate increases the revenue. Remember what we said, as a product manager, you need to think about what is the end outcome and work backwards from there. Right? If you look at the video bar, a lot of videos will have timestamps. Right? Why do you think someone built timestamps? Because it allows people to forward the video. What happens when you start forwarding the video? Another ad comes up. Will you be able to skip the ad? No. It increases the video completion rate. Right? It's not about, yeah, you are obviously thinking that, okay, it's helping me access the required information, but the product manager is actually thinking as to, okay, what is the pain point that a user has and how can I use that pain point to help grow the business? Okay. It decreases the watch time for the creator. That is fine. But the thing is, it helps YouTube show more ads, which is how they are making the money. Right? Because the creator is actually making money through the ad monetization if they have turned on the ad monetization. Okay. So that's basically how product managers think. So you start off with a goal or an outcome, and then you look at the actors. What are the roles that people have to play? And for each of the actors, you divide them into different segments. For each of the segments, you try to kind of figure out, okay, what are the behavior changes I need? Here, I need the user to complete a greater length of the video. But why are they not completing it today? Because maybe the creator is very slow in talking about things. Maybe because they don't get a sense of what this video is all about. All of those may be different hypotheses that we have. But to figure out whether those hypotheses are true or not, how do I know? I start talking to users, which is user research. So as a product manager, you have to talk to users to figure out the pain points. And only when you figure out the pain points, you'll be able to solve those pain points and thus help grow the business. Okay, so that was the third gear. You want to go on to the fourth gear? Yeah, you're understanding now how products are getting built. Okay, great. So now think about, how does this process work if you are working on a completely new product from. So far we have been talking about existing products and making those products better. But let's say you're launching a completely new product. How does this process work? So let's say you're trying to launch an online learning platform. How would you actually start? You would first start by looking at what is the target audience? Who is the target audience I'm going after? How big is that market? For those of you who are interested in startups, this is the way to think about it. First is to figure out who am I building for? What is their pain point? How big is that market? Like what we saw with BeReal. The next, so if you look at online learning, there's so many apart from K-12. Even for all of you, if you see, you have perhaps gone through some test prep. There are certain companies which are positioning themselves as an alternative to undergrad college. There's some which are positioning themselves as an alternative to postgrad college. Some which are helping you transition to jobs. Some which are helping you to continuously keep upskilling. Some which are helping you to get executive coaching. Now, for all of you, are you interested in executive coaching? No. You guys are perhaps here, right? You are perhaps looking at something like this, right? But someone at my age, maybe 35 plus years, is looking at executive coaching. So there are different markets, different smaller markets. You need to go deeper into it. Even in transition to jobs, there are people who are looking to transition to a software engineer role. There are some people who are looking to transition into a product management role, different kinds of segments. So again, you are breaking down the segment, and which is what gives you the total available market. From there, you start figuring out the total addressable market. And from there, you are trying to go deeper to figure out what is the market that you can realistically go after. Okay. So that's the first thing. You figure out the target segment and how big that market is by doing a back of the envelope calculation. Once you figured out that market, then you try to figure out, okay, for this particular target segment, what are their unmet needs? Unmet needs is nothing but goals plus pain points. Let's take an example out here. Let's say I want to be healthier, and I know that I don't want to consume a lot of oily food, but I like having snacks, but I don't know how to get snacks without it being oily. Okay. So what do I do out here? My goal is to become healthier. That's my goal. And my pain point is I don't have any way to get healthy snacks which are not oily. And that's when a company like Philips comes in and says that, okay, the goal is to make you healthier. And I'm going to provide you with oil-free food, a way to get oil-free snacks. And here's an air fryer. Right? Because people always look at achieving certain goals. People don't look for using a product. Even if you're using Instagram Reels and mindlessly scrolling, what you are looking for is to pass your time. That's your goal. Or to get a dose of entertainment. Okay. So that's basically what products end up doing. You are trying to identify an unmet need. Why unmet? Because all the available substitutes in the market are not able to solve that need, and which is what you're solving for. Okay. So that's the next step for you to figure out if you're launching a new product, what are the unmet needs in the market? Then you start looking at, okay, what are the other players in the market? And how can you differentiate? Who are the competitors? How can you differentiate from the competition? That's the next step. Then you start thinking about, but what can make my product fail? Okay. You try to understand what, if that happens, will make my product fail. That's your riskiest hypothesis. That's what you start testing out. And that is what will help you build out what we call as the minimum viable product, which is the basic version of your product. Okay, so that's the next thing for you to figure out. What are the riskiest hypotheses? Now, we talk a lot about minimum viable products, but I firmly believe it's all about minimum viable tests. MVP is nothing but minimum viable tests. You should get into a habit of testing and learning, because we learn when we actually take tests or we carry out tests. So instead of building out something, you are actually building out a minimum viable test. When we started NextLeap, we did not build out any product. For the first 6 months, we were running courses on Notion, on Zoom, on Slack. We did not have anything, no product, nothing. But it helped us to test out different hypotheses that we had without building anything. And now we have a learning portal. Now we have a live learning experience, which is much better than WebEx, right? All of those things, we have that in-house now, right? But if we wanted to build it out upfront, that would have been thinking about building out a solution instead of understanding the problem, and which is the crux of product management. You cannot lead with a solution mindset. You have to lead with a problem solving mindset. Okay. There are three elements of the minimum viable test. First is the value proposition. Why would someone choose my product? Second is the riskiest hypothesis. What can make my product fail? And third is atomic unit, which is what is the absolute basic thing with which I can go to market? Value proposition. Why would users want it? What is my promise to the users? What am I helping them achieve, which they are not able to today? The riskiest hypothesis is what might make my product or my model fail. An atomic unit is what you plan to sell. For example, Amazon, when it started, the atomic unit was selling one book. Because they knew that if we could sell one book, we can sell multiple books. If we can sell multiple books, we can sell fashion items also. If we can sell fashion, we can sell furniture also. If we can sell furniture, we can sell electronic appliances also. Right? So that's basically the way to think about it, atomic unit. For NextLeap, it was selling one course. If you could sell one course, and if we could deliver outcomes, if we could see the learners go through a transformative experience, then we know that we can replicate it. Today at NextLeap, when we started, our first batch was only 24 people. Only 24 people, but that's pretty much what we needed. After 2 years of operations, we now have had more than 10,000 learners who have gone through our fellowships. 10,000. Okay. So you start small, and at each step, you are actually trying to learn what is working and what is not working and iterating on the product. Okay. So that's basically the way to think about building products. Now that you have a product aiming to target a specific market, but you still have the problem of how do you actually get more people to use that product, which is what comes to the product market fit. How do you know whether the product that you have in the market is actually solving a problem for the users or not? Right? So that is what is called product market fit. Now, what is product market fit? You will see a lot of definitions online which basically say that you just know when you have product market fit. Some will say when more people say I would be very disappointed if this product were shut down, right? And running surveys and things like that, right? But what I've realized through my experience is none of these things work in the real life. And which is why I find my own definition out here, right? It's a very simple way. to think about it. Product market fit is kind of broken down into several smaller pieces. You know when you have achieved product market fit when you have started getting predictable growth, repeatable growth, month on month growth with a positive unit economics. Okay. In today's world, we hear so much about startups making some losses and kind of doing layoffs and so many things, right? Especially since we are in the edtech market, obviously we have to bear that burden of Byju's and Unacademy and so many others getting into fraudulent practices and all of that. But you'll be kind of surprised to know that at NextLeap, we are an 8-member team only. We do not have any salespeople. No one. We have crossed 10,000 learners, right? And more importantly, we are profitable. Okay. So that's basically kind of why I put this, right? Predictable growth. Only when you know that if I do this, I can increase my customers by so much. Repeatable growth, which means it is not like 1 month I get 1,000 learners and the next month I get only 100 learners. No, that is not repeatable. It should be month on month growth. 1 month it's 1,000, next month it's 1,000 plus. The next month it's something more. And finally, you should be able to operate with a positive unit economics. So you are actually going in a much better situation when all of these things happen. Repeatable means you have a market product fit, that you are in the right market. Because if you're not in the right market, you will not be able to repeat it again and again and again. Predictable basically means that you have the right channels to reach out to the users. Only then you will make it predictable. Month on month growth means your model actually works. Positive unit economics means that your channel and model, there is a fit. Right? So that's basically how to think about product market fit. Here's a graph that I'm showing you in terms of revenues. When do you think, in which month do you think this company achieved product market fit? Which month? June? June, this month, the highest month, but then it dropped, right? Why are you saying June? After this, it dropped. August, right? Because after this, you see a consistent growth out here. And you're doing it regularly. This was our journey, by the way. And since then, we have more than doubled or tripled, right? But this was our journey. So you can see for a startup, the kind of journey that a startup would go through. You can see all of this, right? A sudden spike, then again go down, sudden spike, again go down. You're still trying to figure out things. And it took us almost a year to figure it out. And after that, it started increasing regularly. Right? It can drop because of some issues like seasonality and all. Yes, it's true. But the thing is, if it's a repeated one, right, month over month fall, then I don't think you can attribute it to seasonality. Then something else is wrong. Final gear, right? Should we kind of complete it? We have another 10 minutes or so. We'll try to kind of complete the final gear as well, since we are almost there. Okay. So now tell me this. What do you think is different between these three? Swiggy Instamart, and Insanely Good. Can you tell me what's different between the three? Logo is different. Okay, sure, logo is different. I'll grant you that. They provide different services, obviously. Yes. But what is fundamentally different between the three? Model color, okay, all right. So if you look very carefully, Swiggy is almost a household name now, right? Instamart is also by Swiggy, right? But Instamart is still growing, and Swiggy's growth has kind of saturated now, right? Overall food delivery, because you've reached kind of a point where it's kind of saturated largely. But Swiggy Instamart is growing very rapidly. And then you have Insanely Good by Swiggy. Insanely Good by Swiggy is in a very early stage. It is still trying to find product market fit. So growth, whenever you're looking at products will go through a certain growth journey, and there are different stages of growth. Okay. Just like for humans, there is kind of early childhood, like kindergarten, play school, and all of that. Then you go into preschool, then you go into high school, and then you go into college, right? So the different stages, and your maturity increases. Similarly, for products also, there are different stages of growth, which is where it's acquisition and activation as the first things that you need to think about. How do I get more users? Then how do I get more users to understand the value from my product? Then how do I get more users to keep using my product more and more? And then finally, how do I make money from my users? Right? So that's what the journey of a user looks like. The user comes in, may like it, may not like it. Some of you will never use BeReal. Some of you will start using BeReal a lot more, right? Then through the onboarding process, you are actually helping the user to understand the value, right? That's when the aha moment comes in. Oh, like this is how it works, right? And from there, some people will feel like, oh, this is not for me. They will drop off. Some people will continue using it daily, and a habit will start building. And then you will start kind of using it almost on a daily basis. So what you see is retention, as we call it, is the output, the input being acquisition. Who I acquire is important. If I acquire the wrong set of users, then obviously they will not get retained. How I activate them, which means how do I actually get them to understand the value that my product provides. And finally, engagement. How do I get them to use my product a lot more? Because if all these three things happen correctly, then retention is automatically the output. Okay. You would have heard about SNL, Saturday Night Live, if you are into comedy, right? So I'm introducing a new thing called STL. Right? Why STL? That is because we have S curves, right? S curves. So whenever you're growing, initially you will ride on a particular channel. That may be ads. More people come and start using your product. Then maybe you start using another channel, which is referrals, right? People will start talking about it. Oh, have you used this product? Have you not used this product? Try it out and things. That's referrals. Then you perhaps will start looking at something like search engine optimization. That's your third lever of growth. You don't work on all the growth drivers together, right? You focus on one channel, go deep, and then you add another channel. Then you add another channel. And that's what helps you to keep growing by tapping into different channels, because each channel will reach a certain level of saturation after some time. So that's the S curve. S for S curves. Then comes the T. T is basically how to think about retention and engagement. Engagement is the depth and retention is the breadth. So if I ask you how many customers order from Swiggy every month, then that is a retention question. Versus if I ask you how much do they order every single day, right? Or how many items do they order with every single order, then that is engagement, right? It's the depth. Okay. So that's how to think about growth. And finally, L. L is all about loops. When we think about growth, there are two ways to think about growth. One is funnels and one is growths. Funnels are the older way of thinking about growth. Loops are the newer way of thinking about growth. What are loops? It is basically nothing but one user bringing another user. For example, in a referral, what happens is you like a product and you want another person to look at the product or use the product. So you refer. So one user is bringing another user. Okay. So that's a question of loops. These are slightly more advanced topics, but that's why I'm not going a lot more into the detail. In the fellowship that we have, we go into a lot more detail for loops and T and the S curves. But yeah, I think that's pretty much what I wanted to cover. We are right on time, I guess. I hope you enjoyed the ride. We went all the way from the first gear to the fifth gear. Thank you so much for being an engaged audience. And if you felt like you were interested in whatever was being kind of shared, then perhaps you might want to go deeper into product management. And that's a very valid career option. Product management, product management as a function has kind of produced a lot of very named leaders now. Sundar Pichai, Satya Nadella, right? They're all product managers at the start of their career. Now they've gone on to kind of lead organizations. So it's a very fulfilling career, very satisfying career, but it is not a career for everyone, right? It is for those who are very curious. It is those who have a problem-solving mindset. It is for those who have an empathy towards their users, and it is for those who can work with different sets of people, different functions, and it's also for those who are very good storytellers, right? So that's basically what the function is all about. So thank you once again for having me for this workshop. Really appreciate you guys inviting me. And thank you to everyone who kind of joined in this call. I hope you learned a thing or two. Over to you guys.
So thank you, Arindam. It was an honor having you here. Thank you for such a wonderful session, and thank you everyone for your active participation and engaging discussions. Before we bid farewell, a quick note about our SPP program. It is an initiative that encourages collaboration between you guys and us Cognizance. It offers exclusive benefits like internships and free Cognizance passes for top 10 SPPs. An exciting news that our TechFest Cognizance is just around the corner from 15th to 17th of March. It will be a fantastic opportunity for everyone to dive deeper into your technical passions and participate in desired events and connect with like-minded individuals. Registration links will be sent to your WhatsApp groups you've joined. So keep an eye out. Goodbye and best of luck for your future endeavors. Thank you.